Hello, this is Angela with Parko's Permaculture. I figured this was a good time of year to give you all an update on what the front yard of my garden looks like. So recently a meme was made of just the front yard from the street a few years ago, and I thought, let's give you an accurate picture of what my yard looks like right now in late August, just the front yard portion that was memed. So here you can see the shed that we put in this summer. This was a kit that we built, and I owe you all a video about how that went and my recommendations and cautions. You can see the greenhouse that still needs the windows put in. I'm in the process of painting them, but the entire structure and the roof is up and the door as well. In late August, we find that some parts of the garden look especially lush. Those with a different aesthetic might say overgrown. I keep things like this volunteer tomatillo growing because they have chosen to appear even in the path and produce a yield for me. Some parts of the garden, like this honeyberry, are struggling with some heat stress this time of year. It's been very hot and dry. In this front yard bed, I'm still reworking it. These gorgeous rudbeckia were a division from my mother's garden, and they bring in all of the bees, bumblebees, longhorn bees, serratina bees. You can see here longhorn bees in abundance this time of year. However, this rudbeckia, also called black-eyed Susan, is too tall for this space. It's in a much sunnier spot in my garden than it was in my mother's, and it needs to go back in that hole there where it will fit better. In turn, the echinacea that I planted back in this hole are too short for the area, and I need to bring them forward. When you get free plant divisions or cuttings off of places like Craigslist or from a friend or family member's garden, sometimes they don't perform quite as you expect and you have to shuffle things around. Now you can clearly see there are grapes overgrown, and I'm about to do some pruning here. I find that late August into early September can be kind of an awkward phase for the garden. There is still that summer abundance and often summer pruning that has to be done. We don't just prune in the autumn and the winter. There is summer pruning to control vigorous growth, particularly in fruit trees and grapes. As I step over here onto the driveway, you can see we still have room to park one of our cars, even though we've added the shed. I'm going to pan over this way. You can see how narrow this bed is, but how much the vegetation is shooting out this way and that, because the summer heat has encouraged a lot of vegetative growth. Again, a few plants are heat stressed because it's been unusually hot and dry, but so many of them have been incredibly productive. I want my plants to fill the space and overflow it. That is the look that I am going for because I want abundant habitat for pollinators. I want abundant food production, and I want to crowd out weeds. And I also want to shade the soil with growing plants. Here you can see right before I did a round of pruning, there are a lot of laterals and a lot of vertical upright water sprout growth that I needed to take back. That's wonderful chop and drop mulch for the garden, and about 45 minutes of work for me. I enjoy it. It's pleasant. I don't mind that kind of labor at all. And it brings a benefit to my garden and opens up those arches, those walkways, those paths so they are more usable again. Here's the garden in the evening after I have finished removing the water sprouts and all of the overhanging vegetation from the path. Still really lush and abundant and exactly how I want my permaculture garden to look. Again, the front yard is just a small portion of the garden, but I want it to communicate permaculture design to the neighborhood and to be highly functional. Thank you for watching today. I hope that gave you a little taste of real-world permaculture in my real garden here in Portland, Oregon. I'll be back very soon.